Pakistan meeting with representatives of the IMF and World Bank in Washington this week, which comes at a crucial time as the country gets ready to release its fiscal 2018 to 2019 budget in coming weeks before general elections at mid-year. Miftah Ismail, Pakistan's advisor to the Prime Minister on Finance, joins us now from Washington. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I know the government is targeting greater than 6% GDP next year, but there are plenty of skeptics, whether you're talking to analysts or the Asian Development Bank, that expect growth to slow because of widening deficits. What is the plan to achieve that growth trajectory?
So we've had 5.8% growth this year, and even last year's growth was revised upward to 5.4. Next year we're targeting 6.25% growth. I think with the new power plants coming that we've installed with the help of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, with other economic activities coming into play for next year, I am very confident that we should be able to get to 6.25% of GDP growth.
So the government, as part of that plan, and I assume to boost exports, among other things, has devalued the currency twice since December. And what impact have you already seen from that? And are you expecting to see a further devaluation either before or after the elections in July?
Well, I mean, I think that our currency was misaligned. We had this policy of pegging the currency to the dollar at some nominal rate. I thought that given that our exports were going down for the last 3 years and import was going up way too fast, and trade deficit was becoming very high, I thought the right thing to do was to devalue the currency. We did twice. It was 5% in December, 5% in March. Luckily, there hasn't been any inflation in Pakistan. So far, the inflation is less than 4% for the first time in 9 months. So the government of Pakistan has a lot of policy choices. If we need to devalue further, we would, but we really don't see any need now. Just in the month of March, our exports were up 24% from year on year from March of last year. So I see good things happening right now, and I don't see any further need for devaluation right away.
Now, you've ruled out an international bond sale before the elections, but we know that about $450 million is being raised through a syndicated loan, and you still need to raise another $1.5 billion. So talk us through what your plan is for doing that.
Okay, so the last bond we sold was, I think, October, November last year. Since then, we haven't gone back to the bond market. And I plan to have a Panda bond or selling Panda bond in China next year, somewhere in September, October, and then maybe in November we'll go back to the international bond market like we did last year. In terms of the financing gap right now, we are talking to commercial banks and taking commercial loans from commercial banks.
So everyone that we've spoken to, and including diplomats, expect Pakistan to be added to the Financial Action Task Force grey anti-terror financing watch list from June of this year. Is that a foregone conclusion as far as you're concerned? And what impact do you expect that to have as far as your external environment and financing flows are concerned?
I think that's a fair conclusion given the vote last in February. Or March, I should say. I think that they've decided that we will go on an action reporting plan. We've already prepared a plan. I think we're going to share it with them on the 25th or 23rd of this month. Once I go back home, I'll take a look at the final look at the plan and share it with them. And that once we implement this plan, this is what a grey list is called. We expect to be on the grey list for no more than a year and come out of that. And whatever reservations that the international community has about Pakistani anti-money laundering laws or counter-financing of terrorism laws, we will work with the international community, we'll work with FATF and ICRG and implement those reforms completely so that we are out of the grey list.
So you're willing to do whatever it takes in order to shore up confidence and get off that watch list?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's much left to do. But whatever is left to do, we'll absolutely do it. We expect to be. I think that what other countries expect us to do, we want to fulfill our international obligations and commitment. And Pakistan will absolutely not allow any financing of terrorism or money laundering on its territory.